You're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast on Digital Stream Radio.
Things happen when you least expect it, and as always, moms rise to the occasion. Tonight we're talking about making lemonade. You know what I mean, so stick around. Hey everyone, you're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast, a weekly show that chronicles the adventures of motherhood. I'm Candace. Now let's start the show. Hey!
Hey!
How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good.
I just called you ma'am.
You did.
Oh my God.
What kind of bullshit is that?
Hit me. Thank you. I like that too. How are you, Miss Candace? I know, Miss Candace. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good.
Yeah,
I'm really, really good.
It's exciting. It's Thursday.
It is. We're back to our regular scheduled show.
That's right.
Which Thursday just ran up on me real fast. I wasn't even prepared. But I'm happy to be here. So,
well, just to let everybody know, we are live on Facebook Live. You can go to the Breezy Moms podcast page and watch our live stream video. We're also live on audio. You can go to digitalstreamradio.com/live stream to listen to the audio version of the show, which is streamed live. And of course, we're here in studio, and our show is going to be available on all the good places, all the podcasting catchers out there. So that's Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, Apple Podcasts, and all the good places, including Spotify. So make sure that you go check us out, subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite service, and let us know how we're doing. And we're back.
Yeah, we're here. So I'm just doing, as always, trying to make sure to share the live feed across all of the things, which I'm totally terrible at managing multiple social media pages. Like I really just I can't handle it. But so that's why my brain is stalling right now because I'm trying to do too many things and I'm not a good multitasker. To be fair, I don't think anybody is a good multitasker, but it's the lie that we all are sold that we should be able to multitask. And that's just not how your brain works. So anyway, here we are Thursday. I was having a really shitty week, but I'm committed to being happy right now. So I'm just gonna happy it out. That's the plan. That's the whole plan. And I'm super excited about our guest who's going to be on in a few minutes because we're going to move fast tonight.
That's right. Well, we're going to try.
We're going to try.
So, as we always do, we open with the weather. It's raining outside.
It is
cold. Summer's
It's not that cold.
It's colder. It's going to be cold.
I mean, your heat was cranking when I got in here.
And I'm sitting here.
You're so
in a
weird.
Sweater, and it's like, and I still have my badge from work on.
You're
it's
a mess.
Horrible. Yeah, I am.
Well, I'm still in my work clothes, which is there's probably spit up on me somewhere.
That's all right. Mm-hmm. You're used to it though, right? It's what you do. So all right. So listen, let's jump right in. I have a question for you, Miss Kansas.
I'm listening.
How are your amazing boys?
Oh, my boys are great. I don't know that they're any greater than they usually are this week. But they are really good. Again, it's another week of Emery getting way more relaxed and into school. We're James sends me these messages every few days because he does drop off in the morning and he's like, oh, today was a great day. Emery ran straight in and hugged the teacher and said bye and was dancing. It was a whole thing, which is a far cry from him crying
when
and holding on and not really wanting to go. So it's getting better and better every day.
Well, that's good. That's promising.
Yeah,
right?
It's really good.
Because you said he was the one that was crying. You didn't even know he was crying when James was leaving him in school in the beginning.
I didn't, but he's doing much better now, and I think it's just again because he only knows being at home, and so it's a huge transition for him to be leaving every morning to go to school. And we actually had a free day, or they had a free day. It wasn't a free day for me, but for election day, so they were home and. He was really I mean, as much as I think he's starting to like school, he was actually kind of happy to get to stay at home. He goes, Mom, is today a school day? And I go, no. He goes, yay! It's like, okay, I guess we're going to hang out here with all the other daycare kids. It was a full friggin' house on Tuesday.
That's crazy. Yeah, because, a lot of people don't realize that when we have election night, the schools close.
Yeah.
And so therefore you have to keep your kids at home, or moms or parents in general have to find some sort of alternative arrangement for when kids can't be in school.
Yep.
I mean, it's a good thing, right? We all need to make sure that we exercise our constitutional right to vote and make sure that we are doing all that good stuff and looking into people that align with what we believe in our views and values. And so it's an acceptable reason for children not to be in school. But aside from that, don't do that.
Don't not go to school.
Like, don't like give mothers like
Don't
I
close
don't know.
school.
Don't close school down. Right? It's like my thing is this. Listen, other countries have done it. Move voting to a weekend, make it on a Saturday, or make it an actual national holiday so that,
So everybody
companies
is at
and
home.
everyone's at home and you
That
don't
is
have to
true.
run around. And it also makes it easier for you as a parent or for anyone as a voter to be able to make it to the polls. And
It's
you would
true.
have more than the miserable, what was it? Like 3% turnout that they had in
Oh,
the
I
city
didn't
of
even
Waterbury in
realize.
Connecticut.
Wow.
It was bad.
Abysmal. That number
Yeah.
is small.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Now, because I always do the most, I went to vote on Tuesday with all 7 of the daycare kids.
I'm proud of you.
Like a boss, okay? My Cadillac quad stroller. And I didn't think that I was going to make it. And halfway there, I was like, let's just go to the park instead. But we were playing and everything was going well. And it stopped raining because we were out in the woods in the rain. And I figured might as well. And so we went in there and the people didn't know what to do with themselves when all these kids bust into the school gym because it's at my son's school. And they bust into the gym and they took off running, like just scattered. I couldn't
Yeah.
even.
They knew where they were.
Right. They knew where they were. They knew what to do. And the little old ladies were like, And I was like, it's going to be all right. We're leaving in 5 minutes.
Yeah. They come here every day. They know exactly where to go. If they fall, they know exactly where to go.
Mm-hmm.
So you're good. No, but it also provides you an opportunity to show them what civic duty feels like, what it is, and what it looks like.
We all got our little stickers,
That's
which
right.
is about the extent of what they understand now at 5 years old.
Yeah.
We get a sticker? Yes.
Yes. As soon as you fill in the bubbles and put this little paper in this little machine, you get a sticker.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome.
That's
My
the goal.
sticker's still on my coat.
I don't think mine is. Mine was hanging off the edge of my arm, which when I saw I took a picture, and when I saw that I was like, this is very indicative of how the day went, right? Like
Sideways.
it's just like sliding. I'm like falling off the edge. Yeah. But it was, it was good. And thankfully so I had 7 kids, including my 2 on election day. And then the following day I only had 3. So I was able to catch my breath. But the day, as much as I joke and, it was a little bit challenging, we went out into our neighborhood green space and ran around in the rain. Like those kids were exhausted come nap time. And the following morning, everybody said, "Oh, the kids slept really well last night." I was like, "Yeah, because
they were exhausted.
We weren't going to be in my house, 7 kids bouncing off the walls."
That's right. So, and not only that, you're still working through the collection of candy from Halloween, right?
My kids have kind of forgotten about it. Thank the Lord. I hid the bag. It's miraculously.
I can't help it. It's right there.
Yeah, that's why I don't put mine out like that. Mine was hidden under a pillow or under a blanket in my bedroom, and somehow Emery walked by and knocked the blanket off because he just does that. He's like a cat. He just knocks shit over, and he goes, "Oh, candy!" And I was like, "Fuck,
no,
what?"
No, I still have a big bucket over there sitting by the sofa. You can see it out of the corner of the eye in the camera. But yeah, I'm just going through it one candy at a time.
No, thank you.
Trying so hard not to go into a sugar coma.
Yeah, no. Well, the ones that I like are the Snickers, and it comes out on my face. So
and it's all
trying
over,
to keep
over the
face
place
together.
All over work. Every desk I go to, there's a little bucket somewhere, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, people.
Oh my God. Well, it's going to be like that. I'm pretty sure in one of my cabinets is candy from 2 Halloweens ago.
It's time to get rid of it.
Yes. I mean, it probably still tastes exactly the same, but it's up high, and so you never see it. It's all right. The last thing I wanted to say about the boys, well, I guess maybe 2 things. One, about Lincoln. I was catching myself just last night because I was trying to help him with his homework, and I was I guess yesterday should have felt a little bit easier, but I still was a little wound up from a tough week, and was finding myself getting super frustrated with him over homework, and felt so when it was finally done and he went upstairs to bed and he was like, "All right, good night, Mom." I was like, holy shit, I don't want to make him hate school and make him hate homework. And I felt in that moment some extreme guilt about really kind of pushing him super hard.
But what was frustrating you?
Well, because we've been doing the same thing. Like we've been counting by twos for the last 2 weeks.
Ah,
You know what I mean?
as long as it's not Common Core math, then I would be like, I
No,
completely
I'm not getting
understand.
involved. I refuse. I don't know what we're gonna do when that happens. I'm not gonna get involved. I
Yep.
refuse to participate in that. No, we're doing some like I guess they're like math facts, and sight words, like those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. It's a lot of repetition. And I forget or I forgot that he's only 5. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's like, we've been doing this for 2 weeks already, every day. Come on, come on. And so I just felt myself definitely being short with him and feeling super frustrated with him. And I could see him, you know, when you see in somebody's body language that they're just like,
They just slump down.
they're slumping lower and lower till his chin was actually on the table. And I go, okay, you know what? This is enough for tonight. Why don't we hug it out and then we'll try again tomorrow?
And, you know, it's some of our Facebook Live folks that are watching are commenting and saying, you know, for example, T over here said, it happens to the best of us. You'll know now and you'll be more aware. And whenever you get frustrated, you'll do some sort of little self-correct.
Yeah.
Which is good. And that's important.
Just like
you know,
turn around and drink some of my
yeah, something.
Truly.
So my thing is this, that, you know, now that you're aware of it, you're less prone to, you recognize it, which is important. That's the important part. And so, you know, you'll figure out a way.
I don't know that I'm immediately less prone, but I'm going to try really hard.
But I think that in the moment you may not be immediately aware of what's happening, but then once you become aware, that's an opportunity for you to sit them down and say, you know, this is what we were feeling.
Right.
And go through
I've
the motions.
apologized to him so many times over the course of his 5 years. I am
like,
not
Ma,
afraid to apologize to a 5-year-old.
Ma, this is getting old.
I know.
Just stop it.
I'm sorry again today for being upset. My fuse is short. I'm sorry.
They're your kids. They're your babies. You're going to love them. They're going to frustrate you. And it's not going to be the first time. Girl, you've got the rest of your life for that.
I know.
The rest of it.
But I was at the school tonight. They have this thing called exhibition night. And so I went tonight because I always feel mom guilt, especially now that I don't do drop off. I don't do pickup. Like I don't get to go to any of the things. And we only had maybe 20 minutes of this thing before it was ended, but we made it. And so I got to see the teachers, both of their teachers, and Lincoln's teacher. Both of their teachers actually told me that the kids are doing great. Lincoln is doing great. And what Lincoln's teacher said to me is they're only 5 and he's already doing so well. Like if there's a night that is not going super well, or you need to take a break, or he needs to take a break, it's okay to take a break.
Yeah.
And I was like,
be like Elsa, let it go.
Okay. Sometimes you just need somebody to tell you that it's okay to let off the gas a little bit. So, but of course I'm like, I need to, like, he's got to learn how to read an essay now at 5 3/4.
I want you to read this book by bedtime.
I know.
The entire thing, all 570 pages.
So it's definitely a challenge, and it's challenging it's not challenging, but I have to, and we should remind ourselves or get familiar with what, sort of developmentally and at the level of school that they are at, what the actual requirements are, and then decide, like, you know, plus or minus how much you want it. Because sometimes it feels like the requirements are pretty low. And so obviously if you want to push your kid a little bit, then you push your kid a little bit. But if you don't have a clear sense of what that baseline is, you might be expecting them to read
a little bit more.
You know, paragraphs when they should really only be reading 4-word sentences, and you might be doing more harm than good. So I think, yes, have high expectations for your kids, but try to set them based on their, like, appropriate developmental stage. So it takes a little bit of work on a parent's side.
Yeah, I can only imagine. You know, it's not easy. And then not only that, you have your kids and you have all the other ranges of ages that you take care of throughout the day. So you also have to be mindful of the fact that they're at a certain developmental stage as well. Yeah. And so, you know,
you have to pivot back and forth all day long.
So it's, I can see how it can become rather easy to lose yourself in that moment. Right?
Yeah.
So.
And then lastly, I have to shout out James. I think he's been, like, he's always awesome, but I think that he's probably had one too many nights of coming home and dinner is not ready until, like, I don't know, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock or whatever, because I haven't been able to get it together. And so he's actually this week, he did the grocery shopping on the weekend. And this week he's been making dinner in the morning before he goes to work. And so
I'm gonna start calling him James 2.0.
Right? Like he's
a
just
complete different
incredible.
person, right?
He's incredible. I don't think he's different. I just think he's
Well,
incredible.
I think he has a new look. Obviously, physically, I mean, he lost a lot of weight. He looks very good. And then now he's got this new mustard colored hat that I finally saw on Facebook.
Right?
And so I think that it's a new him, and for him, it's a new attitude. So yeah, I'm gonna call him James 2.0.
Yeah, so he's been incredible. So we've actually been having dinner at an appropriate time this week because dinner's already ready, and all I have to do is add like one or two little things, and sometimes nothing. So shout out to him for being amazing, absolutely amazing this week.
Because
and
Candace
most
would have
weeks.
starved you.
No,
Like completely starved you.
Not
Not
s-
even a chicken nugget. No,
no,
I'm kidding.
not starved, but like nobody's ever like died from having cereal a couple nights in a row. Like it's
Wow,
not.
that's my favorite. Lucky Charms.
I
What's it?
know.
Cocoa Puffs.
I bet the kids love me on
honeycombs.
cereal night.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
that's like the big deal.
Like my favorite is like honeycombs with 1% milk and like pieces of cheese in it.
I'm sorry,
Like
what?
cheddar. Like cheddar cheese, like you cut little blocks like you would. You know, like little tiny pieces of cheese.
I'm
and just
trying
throw it on
really hard not to
It's
yuck your
so-
yum because
it's
that
so good.
sounds foul.
It's so good. It is so good. It's like you use mild cheddar cheese. It's amazing.
That's too much. Let's move on. I can't handle it. I can't. Okay. Well, let's lead right into our guest for tonight because I'm super excited that she has joined us. I've been trying to get her on the show for months now, and our schedules have finally aligned. And I always say this, it always sounds ridiculous. An old friend of mine. So it's a friend of mine from when I was super young and we were going to church together in Harlem. And I've just been watching her for the last actually several years on Facebook. There's some crazy noise in the background. It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, I've been watching her and admiring her and her growing beautiful family for the last several years. And so I'm super excited to have her on the show tonight. Sarah, welcome to the Breezy Moms podcast.
Hey, thanks.
How are you?
Good. When you said there was the noise, I'm like, what? I'm sitting in silence. It was the Instapot being opened.
Oh.
That's great. Well, you do have a sizable family, so I'm really not judging you because it's pretty quiet for it to be a house of 4 kids. Tell us. Oh, wait, what time is it?
Don't know.
It's 7:45. Wow, that's really impressive. My kids are definitely still awake. I know that, and I'm not even there.
It's 7:56.
7:56. They're still awake. I know they're awake. So tell us a little bit about you. Catch me up, Sarah. How have you been?
I've been good. Everything, it's like every day is truly a new day. So just trying to learn to go with it at the moment. Real carpe diems kind of style. Yeah, just I'm trying to think.
Well, so you're a family of 6 right now. And
Yeah.
I'm like super and you so you have 3 beautiful boys and then you got your number 4 was your beautiful girl. And I was ready. I thought you were gonna have 4 boys.
Yeah, I did too. I was ready for that for sure. It's funny with her, I didn't even decide to find out what it was or what she was gonna be. Just because I was so tired and kind of like so over being pregnant and everything like that. And then it happened. And you know me, I'm like clockwork. So it doesn't happen. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. So I didn't even find out because that way, I don't know, my mind is funny. It gives me something else to concentrate on.
Okay.
So that was going to be my big surprise at the end. Of course, my dad had to know and my best friend. So I had my doctor put it on a Post-it note in a sealed envelope and they stuck it in the in the mailbox and sent it off to them.
That's
so they both
great.
knew, but they didn't tell me.
That's impressive. That's a big secret to hold on to.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
though.
So she was definitely a surprise. And I was scared when she came out and they were like, oh, the baby's so beautiful, but nobody said what it was. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, so what is it? Well, I'm not sitting there, but
Right.
So,
Laid
and
out.
they're like, oh, it's a girl. And I like all the fear.
Oh my gosh.
All the fear just came upon me because, I grew up with a brother, an older brother, and I just like boys were my thing. Like I just knew boys and I'm not really, I don't know. I never really like reacted to things the way some or most girls might. I was a tomboy and everything, even though I didn't dress like one. And yeah, just I felt so distant from raising a girl, but I love it.
Wow.
She's great.
That's so funny because I had the same, that kind of not, I found out when I was having Lincoln that it was a boy, but when I found out he was a boy, I was kind of disappointed because I was like, I don't know what to do with a boy. How am I going to manage? What is going to, like, I don't know anything about boys. My whole family is all girls. And a friend of mine, my friend Tia, I was complaining, right? Or having some concerns about it. And she said, okay, you get 5 more minutes and then you just have to like move on, right? Because you can't be out here being mad that you have a son.
It is what it is. Can't change it.
And now I cannot imagine. First of all, I've had all my kids. Secondly, I cannot imagine having a daughter right now. I would not know a single thing to manage to deal with one. So
yeah, no, it's cool. I mean,
one.
My best friend and I had this running joke that if I ever have a girl, she's going to have a bassinet at her doorstep. Like, you know.
Here, this one's for you.
Yeah, like, sorry, wrong house kind of thing. But she even asked me when, after I had her, she's like, so am I going to have a new kid? Or?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Like, no, I guess I'll do the right thing.
Okay, so you have 4 children. That sounds like a pretty large family to me. Did you start out planning to have a big family?
To be honest with you, I wanted like 10 kids.
Oh my.
And then common sense and just wisdom settled in after a while. And I was just like, that's not going to happen. But I do like having 4 kids. There's always somebody to hang out with, always somebody to talk to, whether you want to.
What are their ages?
Okay, the oldest is 11 and all summer kids. 11, 6, 3, and 2.
Oh my God! Like it's spoken like a mom of a lot of kids. I think they are. It's like that pause.
She earned that. She earned that mental pause.
The last 2 are 14 months apart. So basically, once I got used to having one, along came the other one.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. That is so cool.
So if they're 14 months apart, isn't that what they call Irish twins? No,
Irish twins are within a year.
Within a year, so they have to be okay. Never mind.
Yeah, that's so close.
Yeah, so close. But I mean, that I always think like, how were you even like? How did that like not even healed yet? Like, I don't understand.
Well, it's
Irish
amazing
twins,
what the female body can do, right? I mean, believe it or not, you're built for that.
Listen,
Mama
needs a break. Okay, Mama needs a break.
Mama needs a break. The mama puts an aspirin in between her and her knees, right? And as long as that aspirin stays there, you're gonna get a big break.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
So
as I just took an Excedrin a couple minutes ago.
Just that image is just such an old story.
My grandmother used to say that to the few nieces that we had, and I kept thinking to myself, Grandma, that makes no sense.
And now it makes a lot of sense.
No, it still doesn't, because if you put the aspirin there in between the knees.
No, the whole point is if you're strong enough to keep the aspirin between your knees, then you're strong enough to get another one.
Well, true.
You're telling the story. You don't even understand the story.
No. What I understood it to be was that was some sort of like birth control, right? You put the aspirin in between your knees, and as long as it stays there, you don't end up with child, right? You keep your knees, your legs closed.
I mean, I guess that could be what.
And I kept saying to myself, that makes no sense, because that's not the only way that you just don't have to open up to be able to do the deed. You can do it in so many other ways. And I kept saying to myself, you know what? Never mind, Grandma.
Okay, so I am not super familiar with this story, but my thought, being a mom and a grown-ass woman, is that if I was strong enough to hold a little tiny pill, right, between your knees, that means like your whole pelvic situation is now strong again, which means you must want another kid if you're strong again. No, that's not how any of this works.
All I can say is it is absolutely stunningly miraculous.
That's
what
the only thing it is.
The woman's body can do. It's just beautiful.
Worship
it
us.
It is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. So a lot of props and all that good stuff to all the ladies out there that have kids. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I can tell you it is
memorable,
grotesquely memorable, and but nonetheless very inspiring to see it in in front of you and see it all happen and see the baby come out and what happens and everything that goes along with that is just incredible. It's fascinating.
I love it because James always says the nurse handed him a leg and she didn't even ask him if he could handle it. She was like, she didn't even ask me if I was okay with this. She just gave me a leg and then walked away. And I was like, you better be okay with this.
Yeah, that was Ronald.
It's just like, you're not going to ask for any qualifications. You're just going to put me in this spot and expect for me to... He's like, I could have fainted.
Listen, I was there for my first nephew, and when I seen that baby come out and that head was all like long, I was like, the first thing that came out of my mouth was like, what's wrong with his head? And my sister-in-law literally jolted up like, what's wrong with my baby? And I'm like,
no, I'm wrong.
The nurse was like, calm down, girl. It's normal. The baby's head comes out like that, and you sort of kind of have to. That's why they put those little hats on, to sort of kind of mold them back into shape.
You're better than me, because my first child, when he came out, and he came out literally in 3 minutes, and that was it. And they gave him to me and put him on my chest, and I actually said, can you wash that first? That's so gross. Like, come on, it's still this work, and that's what you're gonna give me?
That's amazing. That is the best thing I've ever heard.
We'll wash him, but right now you need to bond. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, give me that. All right.
Like, how are we gonna bond through all this gross?
I know. That's so grassy.
That's amazing. Okay, so so there's news, right? Because you're a family of 6 and
about to be 7.
And I love it because we were talking and you go, nobody's safe. And I died. So you mentioned that do you still have it, or did they have to take it out? You had an IUD, a copper IUD?
Yeah, copper. Remember that, everybody. Okay. Because when I looked it up, anybody who had, you really have to look it up, and you really have to do like knowledgeable research. Otherwise, you're just reading stuff that isn't true. But anybody who actually like went under this, it was the copper IUD. So, not saying I endorse it, but.
And so have they since taken it out? Do they have to take it out once you're pregnant?
They left it in for about 2 weeks after I found out. But then I was getting a lot of cramping and everything. And so they had to keep doing, let me see, I had like 6 ultrasounds in a matter of 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. So they took it out, and I love how they make their little joke like, oh, now I see why you're pregnant. So
what?
The IUD was like right on my scar tissue from my last C-section. It just decided to go on a little holiday.
Oh, so it wasn't actually in your uterus where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it was at one point, and then it just moved.
Oh my God.
So, and that's what I kept finding with other people who had the copper IUD. It moved on them. So if you have it, get it checked. Like,
oh my gosh. Holy cow.
On a business day.
So Sarah, let me ask you. So this copper IUD, when you say get it checked, how quick is that process, right? Because I mean, obviously a lot of people have it inside, and if there's a possibility that this can move, and you're not aware of it, and you're engaging, your partner or your husband sexually, and you're not aware that it
or you're
moved,
single.
Like, how quick can you just call your doctor and say, "Hey, I need to make an appointment because
Sarah said
because I'm planning on doing the the woogie boogie tonight, and I want to make sure that this thing is in place." Right? Because,
I mean, I don't really know how quick it happens, but I do know that they're obligated to make sure that like everything's okay. So if you have a legitimate concern, you should, just go in and see if you can make an appointment to get it checked. The doctor can either look, or he or she can, do an ultrasound and see where it is, an internal one. Obviously, I don't have that experience, so I don't know exactly how long it would take.
I'm like, wow, because I mean, the whole purpose of getting it put in was because you didn't want to run the risk of being pregnant again or having another child, right?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, even when I got my first ultrasound done, the technician, I don't know if she was like trying to play me or what, but she's like, so you didn't feel it move or anything? I just wanted to be like, all right, come for me. Right. Like, yeah.
Who can feel what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I hate people. They just, if you don't know what to say, lady, shut up. Just do your job and shut up. Holy cow.
I was like, yes, I felt it and I left it that way.
Right.
Anyway, I don't know
good.
how long it would take, but they
But
do
definitely
tell.
within 2 years, right? Your daughter's
Yeah.
2 years old.
Right, because I had Marina with my after my first child. So there's a 5-year gap because we decided to take it out to grow our family more.
Okay.
But I had at least 5 years on that. This one gave me 2.
2. Wow.
So,
So I definitely wanted to spend some time talking with you about this because you are one of maybe 2 or 3 friends that I have who are either currently pregnant with an IUD or with like a botched vasectomy or just like things that get in the way of what our original plan was. And on one hand, you could say, what is meant to be is meant to be, but on the other hand, like we make decisions about our bodies and our timing and our family planning and that sort of thing. And when these sorts of things pop up, it really throws a wrench in it. And I think that people get caught up in feeling like you're somehow ungrateful because so many people are trying to get pregnant and they can't, or you are, a terrible person because you don't want this baby. And it's like, obviously I have this baby. I'm going to love this baby, but I'm still allowed to be in my feelings. Like, what do you say to that? Like, how do you answer those questions of people who have that kind of response when you would legitimately say, like, screw the copper implant? You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I do definitely see it as, a gift. And like you said, you do love the baby and everything. It's not the kid's fault. So, I mean, I remember I said to my husband, well, this is the new member of the family and I'm going to love it. But let's be honest here. This was not anywhere in my head. We thought we were moving to the next stage of life. Like, I just got rid of all my baby stuff over the summer.
Wow.
Got nothing.
Start again.
So, I told him, let's be 100%. I might not be okay. Like, I might be very snappy. I might have an attitude about it. I'm not ungrateful, but I'm still a human being. So, it might take some time. If you see that, like, I'm upset or something, try to give me some space. If I need to talk about it, allow me to do that. And I said this to some of my friends and some of my family too, that I have shared it with, because, life is too hard. There's so much going on in the world. There are so many issues. There are so many things to give thanks for at the same time. But if we can't be honest about how we're feeling, if it gets out of hand, we're not going to be able to get the kind of help that we actually need.
So true.
And, I know hormones and everything like that get heightened. Like, when you're pregnant, you have a heightened,
everything.
Your senses are very heightened, but that doesn't mean that they're all fake. It's not like you're suddenly going through all of these myths. They're heightened and there could be a real issue behind it. So, I would actually say that I kind of just wrap my head around, I'm not even gonna lie. I really haven't wrapped my head around it yet.
That's real.
I haven't.
That's real.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing the things I need to do. And for me, it kind of started off scary because I was on high alert for a miscarriage. They thought it might have been a ectopic pregnancy, which is where the baby doesn't go all the way through the tube into the uterus where it belongs. And so you have a miscarriage. But I mean, it just went in and it was an early pregnancy and everything was just fine. But even that's nothing I've ever experienced before. I've always just been able to have, go full term with all of my kids, all 4, and not ever had to worry about them, passing away while in the womb. So that on top of me not even planning to have this child, now I have to bring in all these new feelings and new types of family planning at the same time. So definitely being able to talk about it and deciphering who the right people are in my life to share these feelings with, even some kind of dark, I guess you could say, not to scare anybody, has definitely helped. And I'll be honest, I mean, I have a prayer life too, and that has helped me as well.
That's really good. I mean, that thing you said about those dark feelings, they're not, it's real. It's absolutely real, right? Like, at this stage, like I haven't had that experience, but once you have kids, right, you still have some dark feelings. You're like, I don't hate my kid, but today I'm in a bad mood, right? And it doesn't make me a terrible person. It doesn't mean that I'm going to go and do something bad. But if I don't acknowledge these feelings, then yes, maybe you should worry about me. So being able to not only recognize that in yourself, but share that with your partner and with, the relative family members who are going to be, because people always come out and say some foolishness and you're like, did you even think before you said that to me right now? You know what I mean? So
Right.
kudos to you for recognizing and being sort of strong enough to say, this is what I need. This is how I'm doing right now. And that might change, right? I might feel differently tomorrow. And I need you to be okay with that too.
But you're also being preventive, like preemptive about it. Like you're thinking about what the possibilities are and you're letting people know, hey, listen, I may need you to support me in this way. And in doing that and letting people know ahead of time, right, months before, the actual baby arrives, you're letting people know, hey, listen, I may need you to help me and support me in this way. And I need you to be patient with me. And so you're lining up your ducks, which to me, that's brilliant.
It is.
Right? Because you're letting people know ahead of time, this is what I may be experiencing. This is how I'm going to need you to support me.
It takes a lot of clarity right now, Sarah. So I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Thanks. And I mean, some people also might not like this. But, I do love my kids, and the ones that are here don't deserve, to be treated a certain way just because I'm going through what I'm going through, or my husband is now preparing to go through what I'm going through. So, in the same way, we tried to make it very age appropriate. We're going through a lot of different ages, 2 to 11 years old. But we did have a conversation, not too in depth, but telling them early that, mommy is pregnant again with a baby, and they know what that means, for those who would understand. And, there might be times when mommy needs some rest, or she might be a little cranky because of that, not because it's the baby's fault, but just because of how the body changes. So if you feel like I'm being very cranky, you can just kindly say, mommy, are you having a good day, to remind me. And sometimes, mommy might need a little rest. Just let me rest. If one of you needs help, go ask the other to help support you. And they've been doing a beautiful job with that. Wow. I think only one time they had to remind one of them, the 6-year-old had to remind me and say, Mom, are you having a good day? I was like, God. No.
But when you hear it in that little voice, it like stops you in your tracks. You're like, oh my God, I'm an asshole.
Yeah, it sure was. But it's okay. And I asked, like you said earlier, like I apologized and I asked him to forgive me. And he gave me a big hug and kiss and said, I love you. And I love the baby too, and it was fine, but it's a good reminder too, that again, they're still kids. They still deserve to be kids, no matter what I'm going through. But as long as we create like a household of understanding, things definitely go smoother.
Wow. And is your whole family up where you are in the boondocks of New York? Where it is that you are?
My parents live about 35, 40 minutes more north than I am. So they're closer to Canada than I am.
Oh my God. And where's your brother these days?
He lives in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in forever.
Yeah, he's getting married in December, so we're going out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you guys move around as a family of 6? You drive everywhere? Do you have a bus?
A bus. We have a Toyota Sienna with 4-wheel drive, which we need because our weather report is snow right now.
What?
So,
I know.
Oh my God.
If you guys are in upstate New York, you're constantly getting a lot of that lake effect snow.
They're on the border of Canada. It's this. I guess it's New York, but it's far.
I know.
Okay, so we will move. Let's pivot a little bit because in addition to being a mom of a ginormous family, you are also doing a bunch of other things on the side. And you just mentioned some other side gig that I didn't even know about. So tell me a little bit about how your how you fill your bucket. So mom is the basket, and what are all the other little things that you're doing to fill your bucket?
So just little ventures, like I had mentioned at the beginning of this. I decided to take a job doing. I'm a DJ, an event DJ.
That's
So I
awesome.
work
I would have
for a
never,
complete.
never in 1,000 years have thought that you were a DJ.
It's something I like played around with in college a little bit, and yeah, it's just something to kind of fulfill just the little desires I had on the side. So I limit it mostly from Friday through Sunday afternoons. And it's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of crazy people. I have some stories.
Oh my God. Are you doing like events? Are you doing clubs? Are you doing bars? Are you doing weddings?
Just events. So anything at like a particular venue. The company that I'm working for, I'm not independent. The company I'm working for is Complete Wedding and Events of Albany.
Okay.
And it's a lot of fun. I do proms, different school events, weddings. Yeah, you name it.
That is so cool.
There. That's awesome. Though.
That's so cool. That's so cool because there is an image that I have of DJs, right? And it's not a pregnant mom of 5. It's just, but it should be. It should be because of all the people who knows all the things, right? So I just think that's incredible. Right, Mom does.
I'm a karaoke DJ as well, so I'm familiar with running around with all this equipment and speakers and speaker stands and mixers and oh Lord, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And then this helps too with the understanding of sound and stuff. So
cool. For sure.
And then you're doing.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you finish. You're also doing.
Oh, I also, I was kind of on a health and fitness journey. And even though I've put that on pause for now because I did get injured back in June 28th, I am pretty much almost recovered from that. I had gotten Achilles tendonitis and I also unaligned my knee at the same time.
Oh my God.
So I went through I got 1 week of the kids not being in school and we had a blast. And then on the last day of that Friday, it all went down.
Oh my gosh. And tell me a little bit about what that sort of injury, because we had a guest on the show a couple months ago, Pyle, who had torn something serious in her knee. What is that thing called? The
meniscus?
I don't know. Anyway, she had a serious injury when she had right after she had a baby, right? So she had a 3-year-old and like an infant and she couldn't walk. And so tell me a little bit about what it was like when even a larger family, right? And the beginning of summer and like managing through an injury like that and still trying to mom.
Well, I'll be honest. At this point in my life, I know what it's like to be very tired where you don't want to do anything. So if I find that I'm getting to the point where it's like I'm trying too hard and I really don't have to, I will do something to help compensate. So to be honest with you, Amazon Prime was my best friend. I did a lot of quick research on stuff that would allow the kids, again, age appropriate, because then there's just no point. I would buy stuff that they could use in our yard or in the house independently. Yep. So I got like a trampoline. I got them power wheels.
Sometimes you have to throw money at it. Like sometimes you don't, but other times you do.
But it's interesting because some of them are saying this is like the best summer that they've had. Because they got to be outside. I'd theme it like different days. I would do a water park and things like that. And I would literally just sit outside because that's all I could do to make sure that they're safe and just watch them play and drink my water or whatever else. And
girl, I get it.
So that was good. But it was really hard because driving is a big part of my life. Like I've been driving since I was 16. And so not being able to drive was so hard. And that meant I had to actually depend on other people. So if I wanted to go somewhere and nobody could bring me there, because who's just readily available to bring, 5 people somewhere, especially with car seats, that was hard. And I'll be honest, like some days I would just cry like, I want to go here, but I can't go, and it was
I just want to go to Target.
Yeah. But, thankfully, my dad had retired in March. He sold off all the restaurants and everything.
Wow.
So he was actually available after a certain point to start driving our van around. So that was nice. But then I couldn't walk for more than like 5 minutes. But, slowly but surely, things started to line up. I definitely learned how to slow down in life, which is something that I needed anyway. And I kind of learned better about prioritizing things. And I really got to know my kids a lot better, too.
Wow. Talk a little bit more about that. Is that because you had to slow down? Like I find that sometimes I'm trying to do 16 things and they're asking me questions and I'm ignoring them.
Yeah.
But if you can't do anything, do you think it's because you really had to slow down and it's like a captive audience?
Right. Like I couldn't escape. So, like I literally couldn't escape. So I couldn't even walk fast enough sometimes. So anyway, I had to learn things that I could do with them and just try to be more present. I had to learn to be in the moment. So even at times, like I post on Facebook or Instagram, I had to start giving myself set times to be able to do that. So I wouldn't just be scrolling through my phone and actually getting upset with them for quote unquote distracting me when really they're not.
Oh my God, I just had that realization this week. I was like, I'm mad at my kids because they're interrupting my scrolling. I felt like a terrible, crappy, like bottom of the barrel human being and threw my phone across the room. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't know I was doing this.
Oh, I'm going to go get a little.
But it's so real.
Scoop her out.
Oh, it's so real. It's so real. Okay, so as we wrap up, and I feel like I had so many more questions for you. So I've been thinking about success, and so tell me, what does success look like for you?
Not to minimize it, because being a mom, not to be cliche either, is a humongous, ever-changing, never-ending job. So every day, I kind of minimize my success to small doses, different things in small doses. And what that does is allow me to look at the bigger picture and realize, like, hey, I'm not doing so bad after all.
You're not, girl.
So, yeah, and it also allows me to reflect. So as long as it's actually attainable, not something crazy that I saw like in a meme or whatever, I call that success. Okay. Got the laundry done, success. Cooked dinner, success. So,
seriously, but I mean, those little things typically are what, like, oh my God, I actually did something today, and they make you feel good, right? We were talking about this not too long ago with one of our other guests that we had on the show, and I thought it was Mubaraka. I think it was, where she was talking about, set yourself some realistic goals for the day and then start tackling them one at a time, right? And then when you do that, you start feeling good about yourself. And then that motivates you to do more and keep going, but understanding that not everything needs to get done today. Just get what you can and feel good about it, because it is an accomplishment.
Yeah. And because if you do something and it's too much, too big of a load out in a small period of time, then the smallest thing that throws you off, it's hard to recover from that.
That's right.
So true.
That's right.
That's so true. And then I've been getting into mantras. Do you have a mantra?
Hey, this is a weird one, but I constantly say to myself, I'm good.
It's good and easy.
It's so simple. Oh my gosh. And when you say that, give us an example of when that really like hits home for you.
Like, okay, so if laundry again, because it just never goes away. If I'm dead tired of moving for the day, but nobody in the house has any underwear, and I say to myself, I'm good. Am I really? No. So you should probably go do that. But, if we could function another day or two without it, then yeah, I'm good. So I can move on.
That's great.
And it's okay to have those days, It's like today's not the day.
Today's not a bath day. It's going to be all right. One day is not going to kill us.
Check.
That's great.
That's too funny. That's awesome.
I love that. I'm good. And then last thing, what's for dinner tonight?
Well, I made homemade sauce with meatballs and bow tie pasta because regular spaghetti is boring.
Oh, okay. But first of all, you started with homemade sauce? Is that what you just said? Okay, my sauce comes out of a jar, so really you are good.
Seriously?
I mean, seriously? You mean you started with whole tomatoes?
And listen, and bow tie pasta is amazing, by the way.
I thank you. I like I like anything quick, so I'm good with cans and all of that too. But if you saw my produce drawer in my fridge, it's sad sometimes. So I was just like, I'm not going to let these spoil. So I made some
let's
pasta
make some
sauce.
Oh, so good. Well, Sarah, you have been a joy. It's been so wonderful to see you. I think the last time I saw you in person, you were probably 12. So
Yeah.
it has been incredible to watch you, from afar, on Facebook. Just your family is beautiful, and the things that
Thanks.
you're working on. I'm so excited for you, and I'm so grateful for your time. And I wish you every success, especially through the next couple months. And I can't wait to see what else comes out. I almost said comes out of you.
Baby.
But boom, butch.
That was a pun.
Pun intended and not, but I'm so excited to see what's next for you guys. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's fun.
Absolutely. So we'll come back anytime. Maybe in 6 months for an update.
Okay.
All right.
Fantastic.
Until
Bye.
then, thanks, Sarah.
No problem.
Isn't she awesome?
I love her energy. I think her energy is infectious. Her smile is great. And I'm sorry that people can't see her.
I know.
But if you could, you would understand why we're saying that. But no, that's amazing. She's got a big family. It's about to get bigger. And, one of the other things, and I should have asked before we let her go, was how she was managing recovery while she's already getting, because let's face it, when you're pregnant, you get bigger and bigger and bigger, and that thing grows inside of you and it weighs. And so having an injury and being part of while being pregnant could also make things worse, right? Because you're putting more weight on stuff like that.
And also getting pregnant when you're trying to lose weight is also kind of like against what you started out, like what your plan was, right? So it's a whole lot, but she's handling it with grace, and I'm super excited for her. And
that's awesome.
I mean, that stuff that she was saying about being real with herself and with the people around her. Listen, again, and we're church-going people. I know her from church.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, she's gonna love this baby and they're going to be fine, but she's allowed to have whatever range of feelings that she needs to have.
It's real.
It's
real,
point.
and it should be. They're valid feelings. They're real feelings, and people need to start recognizing that as a parent or even as a human, you are entitled to have a day off.
Yeah.
Right, when you're not there, and you need to process and recover and reset. Right, and sometimes it takes the support of other people. But the fact that she's being proactive about it and letting them know ahead of time, this is what I'm going to be going through. I'm just letting you know.
And also, I know, again, we're church, grow up in the church, and the church can be very sort of dismissive about those things. Oh, but it's a gift from God. Yes, but I'm still upset right now. You know what I mean? So,
and it's okay to
I'm
be.
really proud of her for being able to sort of stand up and say what she needs and let people know, I'm putting y'all on notice. Some days I'm going to be upset, and some days I'm not. And I don't want to hear any of bullshit. So she might not have said it that way, but
keep it in check.
Yes. So
That's
anyway,
awesome.
I'm super glad she was on.
No, and I think, if she ever comes back on, I think that we should probably do a follow-up once the baby comes.
When she comes back on.
If we can give her an opportunity.
We'll give her a couple
of months, right? So that she's not trying to do an interview with a baby on her hand.
Yeah, and 5 kids in the background. Although at 7:56 for them to all be asleep, she's already killing it. So she's going to be fine.
She made homemade sauce.
She did. They're in bed before 8, and she made homemade sauce.
And the meatballs with the bow tie. I love the bow tie pasta because you can stab it easier with the fork. With the spaghetti, I feel like you have to twirl around and play around, and it gets all messy. And
we're a rice family, so I don't really know anything
that works
about
too.
pasta. We put pasta sauce on rice. It's how we do. Anyway, let's wrap up. You ready?
Yeah, we should. So,
hashtag Mom So Hard tip. Go get your fucking IUD tested, checked, whatever.
Before you
no
go,
one is safe. Go and make sure. Not before you go. It's not an immediate thing. But if you haven't had your annual, or if you have had your IUD and you're really counting on it, I would make sure that you go and check it. Right. I would say probably, she said it's been 2 years. So her daughter is 2 years old. Maybe she got it in at 8 weeks or 6 months or whatever. But I would say probably knowing with this little bit of this nugget of information, if you've had it in for over a year, just go and give it a little checks.
And one of the things that you also keep in mind too is that you have to be realistic with what you're doing. yes, you're using birth control. And there's so many different versions of birth control, but when life wants to, life finds a way. I'm just letting you know, it's not 100% guaranteed.
None of them.
So if you're worried, or if you truly don't want to have children and you're relying on that type of birth control, you may want to consider.
You might have to do a couple methods all at the same time. Like at least 2, maybe 3 at the same time.
So just throwing that out there that you might need to also maybe use a rubber to avoid or other things.
I feel like maybe relying on one method where learning is not a safe bet. But if you rely on maybe 2, maybe you are like watching your cycle, maybe you are using a condom, maybe like the more methods you overlap will reduce your odds of getting pregnant, is what we're learning tonight.
Yeah, so that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the Mom So Hard tip for the night, to go check out your birth control situation if you are indeed trying to control birth in your household. With that, I think I'm good. I think we're good.
We nailed this tonight.
We nailed it tonight. Again, I was having a pretty tough week, but this show always gives me life and lifts me up. So thank you for allowing me to do this, for coming every week and listening, and I'm super excited
And
for that.
before we say goodbye, I want to thank everyone on Facebook for chimming in and tuning in.
Chimming?
Yeah,
so weird.
I know. It's something that I take from my show. Actually, one of our listeners, Mama Kim, is actually watching.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yes.
She's the one who said the hugging, right?
Well, she's the one that sent us these flags here.
I know,
for
but
us,
isn't she the one?
She sends us so much. She's just an amazing person.
But isn't she the one who said, if your family won't hug you, like I will hug you, or something like that?
That's the free mom
hugs. Is that Mama Kim?
No,
it's
Mama
a different
Kim
person. Okay,
she's our unofficial mother on our show.
Okay, of the group.
She is our mom.
Okay, I was confusing her, but I'm glad you were watching our show. Thanks for being awesome.
Yeah, she is great, and everybody else. Tia was on, and a couple of people from my side of the page were also on. So thanks everyone for joining us. And this amazing woman is on here every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
You can catch her show on Digital Stream Radio live, or even on Facebook Live. So go to the page and like it so that you know when the videos come on,
and share it with your friends.
That's right.
Apparently, that's how more people find out about the show.
Absolutely.
So thanks in advance. Okay, that's it, or else we will ramble, and then we will not make our hour mark, which we were trying so hard to do this week.
You're doing phenomenal.
All right, so until next time, guys, stay breezy.
Bye?
Bye? Oh, I didn't say bye. Bye. This show is produced by Tom Ortiz at Digital Stream Radio. It's available for download on Podbean. Follow us at Facebook at Breezy Moms Podcast, or email us at breezymomspodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, don't stress, just breathe.